Hello and welcome. Today we are diving into something really interesting. It's a document that completely flips the script on how we think about the value of gold. It says, you know what? Forget the markets, forget the price per ounce. Let's look at this stuff through the lens of pure physics and math. Let's jump right in.
So when I ask that question, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's the daily market price, right? Or maybe you think about its weight, ounces, grams, or its purity, like 24 karat. That's how our world has measured it for centuries. It's a number that just goes up and down, all based on supply, demand, and what investors are feeling that day.
But the document we're looking at today just throws all of that out the window. It basically argues that to find the real, true value of gold, you don't need a stock ticker, you need a ruler. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a pretty wild premise, and we're going to break down exactly how it gets there. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to follow the logic of this document step by step to see how on earth it comes up with its conclusion. This is a journey that doesn't start with economics, but with the fundamental laws of the entire universe.
So, our journey starts with step 1, defining the parameters. The whole argument here is built on a foundation of two very specific, very famous numbers, things we call physical constants.
And what's so important here is that these aren't just random numbers the author picked out of a hat. No, these are two universally recognized constants from the world of physics. It gives the whole thing this feeling of being objective, almost scientific. So what are they?
The first one is c, the speed of light. It's defined here as 300 million meters per second. And that's not just any number. It's like the cosmic speed limit. It's literally the fastest anything can travel in the universe. So that's pillar number 1 for this new definition of value.
And the second parameter, it's t. It stands for the duration of 1 nanosecond. That's 1 billionth of a second. So think about our two ingredients, an absolutely massive speed and an unbelievably tiny sliver of time. All right, now for step 2, the mathematical journey. We've got our two constants, so now the document combines them using a really simple and honestly pretty elegant formula to come up with what it calls the true value of gold.
And here it is. This is the heart of the whole argument. The true value, which they call V, is defined as c times t, speed multiplied by time. Now, if you remember your high school physics, you know that speed times time gives you one thing, distance. So this document is defining value not as money, but as a physical length.
The author then does something interesting. They show the formula using calculus. This integral is the version you'd have to use if the speed of light wasn't constant. By including this, it's like they're showing their work, showing that they've thought about more complex situations even if they don't apply here.
And this is just brilliant, because it illustrates the whole point. Because the speed of light, c, is a constant, that super complicated looking calculus equation simplifies right back down to our basic formula, V equals c times t. It's a really neat way of proving just how simple the approach actually is. So here we are. The numbers are plugged in. We've got 300 million meters per second, and we're multiplying it by 1 billionth of a second. The stage is set. So what does the true value of gold actually end up being?
And that brings us to the grand finale, step 3, the solution. After setting up the rules and walking us through the math, the document gives us its one single definitive answer.
0.3 meters. That's it. That's the answer. Just a simple, stark number that represents a physical length.
So, to put it plainly, this document concludes that the fundamental unit, the true value of gold, is equal to 30 centimeters. It's not a price, it's not a weight, it is the distance that light travels in 1 nanosecond. I mean, that is a mind-bending way to redefine value.
Which, of course, leads to the biggest question of all. Who says so? Right? Where does this come from? Is this some forgotten paper by Einstein? A radical new economic theory? What is the authority behind this entire thing?
And here it is, the answer. The entire definition is decreed by Tyson J. Palmer, Die Gratia Rex. Now, Die Gratia Rex is Latin for, by the grace of God, king. So this isn't a scientific paper, it's a royal decree. And that one final detail changes everything. This isn't a scientific proof, it's an exercise in someone declaring a new reality.
So, what do we take away from all this? Well, this document is a pretty fascinating case study in how to build a closed, logical system. It proves that if you just accept its starting point, that value is the distance light travels in a nanosecond, then the 30-centimeter conclusion makes perfect sense. The authority here isn't science, it's just the decree of the author.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. This document decided to redefine the value of gold. But it makes you wonder, if you can build a whole logical system from scratch to define something as established as gold, what other values or concepts or ideas in our world could be redefined just as easily? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.